Hello, Houston. Exciting day. Wanted to open up and say thank you to Chris Paul. He was a great warrior for us, arguably one of the greatest Rockets teams while he was here. But to get something great, you got to give up something great. And I'm pleased on behalf of Tillman Fertitta and the Fertitta family to welcome Russell Westbrook and his wonderful family to Houston. And one thing I love about Russell in the early time I've gotten to know him is how much he's going to be part of the community through his own efforts and his foundation. But obviously we're here for one reason only, to take that next step that we've been trying to do for the last few years. We feel like Russell can do that. Our crack staff has looked. Anytime a team has added 2 MVPs to their team in the last couple of years, it's worked out pretty well, including recently for Golden State, who just did that. Seemed to work out for them. So we're really excited to have Russell Westbrook join the Rockets, and I'll turn it over to Russell or for questions. What?
First question, Jonathan Davis.
Russ, you and James have both been your team's primary playmakers for the past 7 years. How do you make the balance work? One guy off the ball, the other on, interchangeable, or play it out as it goes? How do you think it works?
Me and James been friends for many, many years, since I was 10, actually. We played with each other for many years in Oklahoma City, and so to be able to win something, you got to be able to sacrifice some parts of your game, and we both understand that. We both understand that we have one common goal, and that's to win a championship. So we understand what we have to do. I'm not worried about it. I know James is not worried about it. I can play off the ball. I don't have to touch the ball to impact the game, and that's the best way for me to be able to come back and impact this team. Is I can do other things on the floor to be able to make sure we have a better chance of winning. So,
Russ, how would you describe this opportunity, what this means to you at this point in your career, and to be able to reunite with James when you guys go back so far?
It's an amazing opportunity, but I can't, take on the next journey without thinking. Oklahoma City Thunder, Sam, Mr. Bennett, the whole Thunder organization, just for taking me in, drafting me. It's something that I never would have thought of being there, and being able to now come and reunite here with James. It's another great chapter in my life, and I'm looking forward to what comes from that.
What about this opportunity excites you the most?
Just better win a championship. I think have a great organization here, great group of guys, great front office, great coaching as well, and I think it's a great opportunity to be able to bring a championship here to Houston, opportunity to be able to do great things, have some fun, and I'm excited for it.
Russell, how are you doing? Francisco Villalobos from 2DN Network. With every opportunity comes goals and challenges. What are your goals here in Houston, and most important, what are your challenges to come here to a city like Houston?
Our one goal is to win the championship, and I think start of the season, that's everybody's goal, but obviously here, and something that we want to do is something that we going to take the time and put the work in to be able to do that. And some of the challenges, I think, just early on, just figuring it out. Myself figuring out, some of the guys figuring me out, coaching staff, and I think all that is growing pains, but it's not nothing that myself are worried about, and I hope the team is not worried about either.
Russ, this Rockets team has been playing a certain style for a long time. A lot of threes they shoot, attacking the basket, spread the floor as well. On defense, they switch a lot. How do you see yourself fitting into that, and how do you see possibly changes that you could make to that style?
I fit right in. Personally, I'm able to. The floor spread gives me a good opportunity to be able to attack, penetrate, kick. Defensively, gives me an opportunity to be able to switch and guard and rebound at a high level. Push the break, gets us out on the break. A lot of different things, in my opinion. I think the style of play is great, and something that I'm looking forward to, just in getting out of space and open the floor. Shooters all around and playing that way.
Hey, Russell, can you talk about just the process of in the back?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In the back, from when you first even thought you could come to Houston, and just it seemed to happen pretty quickly. But can you talk about the process and how it was being a part of that?
It's a crazy process, honestly, but it was a collaborative effort. It was a process that, obviously came very, very quickly, but I thought it was the best decision for me in my career right now, and to be able to reunite, with a brother, a friend, and to be able to do that is something that you dream about and you live for, and that's something that was exciting to me.
Russ, right here.
Yeah.
How would you say that you and James complement each other? You guys were primary ball handlers the last few years, so you guys have played in a certain system and things like that. So when you come here, what will each of you do to complement one another?
I think we play great off the ball together with each other. We've done it in Oklahoma City, and there's been many times in Oklahoma City when James on the team, he closed the game with the primary ball handler, and I played off the ball, which is totally fine for me because, like I said before, I am offensively and scoring and having the ball in my hands is not the only thing I can do for the game. I do a lot of great things for the game, and I look forward to doing that with this team as well.
Mr. Westbrook, right here. Outside of playing with Mr. Harden, what else? What other players on this roster enticed you or wanted to make you want to come to play for the Houston Rockets?
Every single one of them. We've been battling in the playoffs many, many years, so I know the guys very well, know the personnel very well, and it was tough. I don't think we beat the Rockets in the series. We beat. No. Oh, James shaking his head.
Yeah.
No, so that means I don't think
You did.
No, so-
James's first year, our first year before we. When he first got here.
I do know the roster very, very well, and the guys here complement the game and do a lot of great things for the game, and I'm just here to be able to help those guys out.
Here, Russ, have you had much time to chat with D'Antonia, and if so, what do you think about him and playing with him and moving forward with him?
Yeah, definitely. I had an opportunity to be able to sit down and talk to him a little bit. I've been knowing Coach D'Antoni since USA Basketball, so I got a kind of great relationship with him, and we talked about a few things, nothing into depth, but we'll definitely sit down and be able to have a conversation moving forward.
Hey, Russ, to your right. When you look around the NBA and this offseason seemed to be a lot of movement with star-level players, what is your analysis of all of the movement and how the new teams stack up?
I only care about one team, and that's the Houston Rockets. Everybody else is not in my worries. It's not our worry. It's something that we're not worried about. We know what we're capable of doing here, and that's all we're worried about.
Russ, back here in the back.
I see you.
How big of a, when this process came about and you decided, you realized that the trade was possible, how big of a role did James play in selling Houston to you?
A huge role. James is persistent if he wants something done, and we conversated and talked about getting things done, and we had conversations, and we always talked throughout the season. So it was definitely a process, an easy process for me, and not a hard decision at all.
You guys said it came together quickly. It didn't happen quick enough for James. I know that, so.
Russell, right here in front of you.
Yes, sir.
Deshaun Watson, the quarterback of the Texans, we asked him about you yesterday. I want to read you what he said.
All right.
He said, I'm a Westbrook fan. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. I love his energy. I love his mentality. I love what he brings to the table each and every game. He's a guy I can look up to. The way he plays every night, I can do for myself. I'm definitely going to be at the games for sure. And he said, front row.
Well, to me, that's a blessing. I always, I'm a fan of his as well, and I think it's for me, it's always an honor and a blessing to be able to hear another athlete, another person in general, to be able to say they look up to me and the things I'm able to do, and I don't take that for granted, and just motivates me to be able to come out and do the same thing every night at a high level, and figuring out a way to be able to stay consistent throughout the season.
You talked about each and every player. What about playing with guys like P.J. Tucker and Eric Gordon?
Love those guys. Do their job at a very, very high level. Go out and compete. And whenever you have guys that compete every single night, that's all you can ask for. The basketball stuff, missing and making shots is a part of the game, but they go out and compete at a high level. That's the most you can ask for.
Question for Daryl. You mentioned Hall of Fame back here. Obviously, Hall of Famer. We all understand that, pairing him with James. How would you describe what he's going to bring to this team in terms of will to win, emptying the tank on the floor night in and night out, and what effect will that have on your team?
I think people have seen him play. We talked about all the wars we've had, and obviously they got the better of us at the end of the season. with a big play that hurt us a little bit. So it's good to add him. I mean, he plays with an energy, a passion, a will to win that I think is really unparalleled in the league. That's going to be huge for us in transition on the defensive end. James Harden played with him before, but when he was not on the Rockets, I asked him about him, and he said, he's relentless. He comes constantly. He doesn't seem to get tired. It's intimidating to the opponents how much passion he brings to the game, and to have that on our bench now is incredible.
Daryl, when did you know that this trade was possible, and can you just speak to what it took to get it done?
I mean, we didn't think it was possible until all the movement happened with Paul George, and obviously such a cornerstone of that franchise. We had never expected something like this could happen, but once it did happen, it was a pretty quick discussion with ownership and James Harden, and we knew this was something we had to get done if we could.
Russell, you mentioned all your time in Oklahoma City, changing cities as well, coming to Houston, big city with the Texans and the Astros and so many other stars. What have been your thoughts about the city of Houston thus far, and just the opportunity being in the city presents for you?
It's hot as hell, I'll tell you that.
It's actually cooler than last week.
Tell you that. But other than that, no, it's been great getting acclimated and figuring out a way to get the family settled in, and I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, it's a different change, but growing up in LA and kind of similar being a big city and living there in the summertime, but playing in one is definitely different, and it's going to be something I look forward to, and it's exciting.
For free agents out there, it's 75 degrees all during the season. All during the season. Summer's a little hot.
Russell, along those lines, you spent so much time in Oklahoma City. You became so identified with the franchise and the city. What are the emotions from that standpoint, just of leaving that stuff behind?
Oh, man, it's tough, man. It wasn't. It's something that will stay with me the rest of my life, because I basically grew up there in Oklahoma City, 18, 17 years old, and in Oklahoma City, and the people, the organization have never done me wrong. They always stood up for me and my family, and always had my back, and I'm very, very grateful, and I don't take that for granted. And like I said, Sam and Mr. Bennett and Coach Brooks, Coach Donovan, the whole staff, everybody over there, they always have my best interest, and I can do nothing but be thankful and be grateful to what they did for me and my family.
Russ, you mentioned you know this team. Who are some of the guys on the team right now that you've played with or are looking forward to playing with?
Play with? Not necessarily play with, but I mean, you've been in the league so long, and you understand what guys do. You understand what they're capable of doing, and I'm here to help. I'm here to bring extra out of guys, to bring extra out of my teammates. Maybe they can help me out. I'm always looking to find a way to be able to improve my game as well, improve something and add something to my game, and I'm just looking forward to the overall experience.
Hi, Daryl over here. Can you give us any insight on what the staff will be doing from now until camp to build a system for these two future Hall of Famers?
Yeah, I know, Coach, that's more of a coach question, but Coach D'Antoni's been working with Elson Turner and all the staff that's been here before to figure out how to best utilize Russell in his system, and the biggest strength I think of Coach D'Antoni and his staff is taking what guys are good at and putting them in ways to succeed, but not saying they need to change. Figure out how to utilize their strengths, and that's what Mike's done better than any coach I've worked with. And when you got two MVPs, it's a lot to work with, and I know they're all excited.
Russell, very involved in the community back in Oklahoma City. When things settle down here in Houston, do you plan to get involved in the Houston community as well?
Definitely. Figure out, where I can make an impact. And obviously for me, it's always about the inner city, the at-risk youth, and figuring out a way to be able to impact and inspire those kids and people around any community. So whenever I get a chance and sit down, I'll be able to go through and talk to the people I need to talk to be able to make those impacts.
I know you're obviously very excited about being here, but when you've been in one place for so long, is there any worry, concern, or anything in your head how will this go? What?
No, not worry. I mean, obviously it's a change, and it's it's different, especially with having kids and figuring out what's best for them. I think that's always the main concern. But as for basketball and everything else, it's the least of my worries because I feel like that'll take care of itself. You come in with the right mindset and figure out a way to be able to help the team, and everything else will take care of itself.
Russell, you had some procedures at the start of the off season. How would you say where you are right now, health wise, and will you be ready to go for training camp?
Yeah, I'll be ready to go at training camp. I'm doing great. Taking my time, resting as much as I can because we're gonna go after it, start the season, and I'll be ready to go.
Russ, Daryl mentioned just a few minutes ago that he didn't expect the trade really to go down until Paul George deal went through.
Yeah.
Was there ever a thought, even before that happened, that maybe the situation in OKC wasn't going to work out and the trades could have been coming in the future?
Not sure. I always, take one day at a time and figure out the best situation for me, and I'm always figuring out, especially during the summertime, just getting healthy, resting, and let management do whatever they think is best for the organization. And obviously, when the Paul George thing happened, there were different things that were put into place to come to this decision.
So, Russell, people in Houston have seen you for years in the back again as an
there you
opponent. But what can you say that those of us have only seen you as an opponent don't know about you, something that you'd like for people to know?
That I'm a nice guy. I think that's it, the biggest thing. Obviously, when I play the game and I play basketball, there's no. I'm going out to compete. I'm going out to be able to win, and I don't really care how that looks. And I'm always going to stay that way. But I think off the floor for me is a huge thing. Figuring out and understanding that I am human. I am a human being. I am a good person. Just so you guys know, and I do care about the community, the team, my teammates, everybody, and I just want to do whatever I can do to make sure that we can have a chance to win.
Russell, you've been a part of some good defensive teams in Oklahoma City. Coming here to a team that likes to switch, what would you say are some of your strengths defensively, and how do you see yourself fitting into the style of play here?
Honestly, I think being able to switch 1 through 5 is for the offensively, it's tough because I had to deal with it, and it's tough to be able to run a set. It's tough to be able to do different things, and for me, I think it would just be able to help. I think I can be able to help a lot on the rebounding end and switching and finding ways to get out in the passing lanes, and maybe can throw fruit lobs to James if he still got it, and then figure out a way to be able to just impact and use my athleticism and find ways to be able to disrupt the game.
Russell, there's this new trend of duos now in the league. It went from the big threes on several teams now to duos. Are you a fan of this? Because you and James do have previous chemistry. Do you think this can work, and how do you feel about this new trend in the league?
I think it's interesting, but I don't really care about the other duos or other teams. Honestly, I think that my main focus is to worry about what we have going on here, and that's all I can worry about.
This question is from Daryl Morey over here.
Mm-hmm.
When looking back over your career, you have brought in some really great players to this organization, from James Harden, Dwight Howard, Chris Paul. What would you rank the acquisition of Russell Westbrook when reflecting over your career?
I'm with Russell. I'm just worried about next year. I'm not really worried about looking back. I would say, though, I think it's the only time we've ever had an MVP winner, so it's pretty special.
Mr. Westbrook, Mr. Harden has really gotten into soccer lately. Has he tried to sell you on it yet?
No, he need to sell himself on it first. I ain't selling me yet. I gotta wait to see it.
Any other questions? One more.
Daryl, where do you see the roster going the rest of the offseason?
We feel good about where we're at. We're obviously always trying to continue to upgrade. I think, we're trying to win the title, so if there's a significant guy we can add, we'll do it. That's probably more likely through trade than signing at this point, given where free agency's at. But, us, we're never done. It could be an acquisition before the season, could be something during, like last year, that hopefully gives us a boost and puts us one step even better than we're at right now.
right here. Other guy. Oh, Russ, can you hold it up a little bit higher? There we go. Good. Perfect. Right here. Smile. Russ, right here. Smile. Good.